The charity Young Enterprise is aiming to create 1 million opportunities to help young people activate their untapped ambition. Today, it's released research highlighting how children in affluent areas are twice as likely to have access to youth clubs and out-of-school activities than their contemporaries in well-off locations. Well, joining me now is Sharon Davies. She's Chief Executive of Young Enterprise. Sharon, very good morning to you. This has a real impact, according to your research, on how kids progress from here in terms of their careers.
Good morning, Ian. Thank you very much for having me. It's actually the National Youth Agency's research that's been released, and what it states is that there is a significant difference between access for opportunities for young people in less advantaged areas to those advantaged areas, which has enormous impact on future life chances.
So what can we do to address that?
I think the key point is about increasing access to opportunities. And at Young Enterprise, we believe passionately that it's meaningful opportunities and the support to build that enterprising mindset and skills that can build young people's futures. And we've launched a new project called Project IF, which focuses on supporting those areas of our communities that will struggle the most to recover from COVID, to provide opportunities for young people to essentially set up and run their own young enterprise business, to build those key employability skills, to have access to real life industrial volunteers, because we know that access to more than 4 encounters will reduce a young person's risk of becoming employed by over 5 times. And also giving the opportunity to reflect, build a CV and prepare for future interviews.
Is this something that schools and colleges are doing effectively right now, or do you need the buy-in of businesses more as well?
I think it's been fantastic to see the collaboration between businesses and schools in the recovery from the pandemic. So many schools are seeing firsthand that young people need these physical opportunities to reconnect, to build these skills that we've just been unable to do throughout the pandemic. So what we need to do is to build on this momentum. What we're seeing here, Ian, is that young people have developed an incredible enterprising mindset. We've seen them being adaptable, resourceful, very often with limited resources. And what we want to do is enable them to really understand the credibility and the transferability that the skills they've developed over the pandemic can have in the future workplace. And your previous guest talked about skills shortages. This is a real opportunity for employers to think differently about recruiting to potential, recruiting to attitude, recruiting to an enterprising mindset.
Well, Sharon, if I'm a kid from a deprived community, I might be bunking off school or college. How are you going to get your message out to people like that?
We're working really closely with a number of informal educators. The importance of youth workers and the youth services and youth provision is really, really critical. So what we want is that collaborative approach between schools, youth provision, businesses, policymakers, because we can't do this alone. What the last 20 months have taught us is that there isn't the smartest person in the room here. And what we also know is that young people have a considerable amount to contribute to future economic recovery.
I do agree with you. I mean, younger people, I think this current generation are probably the most entrepreneurial we've ever seen in this country. Would you go along with that?
I absolutely would. And what we're seeing is young people being really resourceful, being really adaptable. And we know that entrepreneurship has a vital role in the post-pandemic recovery. We know that they all provide many of our disadvantaged or less advantaged communities with great opportunities to increase earnings, more fulfilling work, real alternative to perhaps unstable jobs too.
All right, Sharon Davies, good to talk to you this morning. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you, Ian.
Very worthwhile initiative, that. Well, there's much more on the Sky News mobile app and on the website with reporting, video content and analysis from our business team. There's a piece from me